Janaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jayarada Madhava Kunjabihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Shri Radhe Jaya Lalita Vishakha Lalita Vishakha Shri Radhe Jaya Nitai Gaura Sundar Nitai Gaura Sundar Gaura Hari Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai Shri Radha Damodara Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Good morning, dear devotees. Thank you for greeting all of us. Start with the book. Let's read. We are on Canto 7, Chapter 4, Text 30 today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tasya Daityapate Putrash Chatvara Paramam Buddha Dhupa Prahrado Bhumaham Stesham Gunar Mahadupashaka Tasya Daityapate Putras Chatvara Paramadhuta Prahrado Bhumaham Stesham Gunar Mahadupashaka Tasya Daityapate Putrash Chatvara Paramadbhutam Prahlado Bhumaham Stesham Gunar Mahadupashakaha. Dasya of him, Hiranyakashipu. Daitya Pate, the king of the Daityas. Putra, sons. Chatvara, 4. Paramadbhuta, very qualified and wonderful. Prahlada, the one named Prahlada. Adhut was Mahan, the greatest. Tesham, of all of them. Gunai, with transcendental qualities. Mahatupashaka, being an unalloyed devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation. Hiranyakashipu had 4 wonderful, well-qualified sons, of whom the one named Prahlada was the best. Indeed, Prahlada was a reservoir of all transcendental qualities, because he was an unalloyed devotee of the Personality of Godhead. Purport. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvai gunas tatra samasate sura. If one who has unflinching devotional faith in Krishna, all the good qualities of Krishna and the demigods are consistently manifest. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 18, Verse 12. Prahlada Maharaj is praised herein for having all good qualities because of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, a pure devotee who has no motives has all good qualities, material and spiritual. If one is spiritually advanced, being a staunch liberal devotee of the Lord, all good qualities are manifest in his body. On the other hand, harasva bhaktasya kuto mahatguna. If one is not a devotee, even if he has some materially good qualities that have no value, that is the verdict of the Vedas. I will read translation again. Hiranyakashipu had 4 wonderful, well-qualified sons, of whom the one named Prahlada was the best. Indeed, Prahlada was a reservoir of all transcendental qualities because he was an unalloyed devotee of the Personality of Godhead. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Padaya Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Padaya Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. So let's discuss now, in contrast with Hiranyakashipu's qualities and materialistic pitfalls of those who do not practice bhakti. And yes, in that contrast, we will see what are the qualities of a devotee. What are the defining qualities of the devotees? There are so many, right? He's meek and humble and sober, compassionate, pure, simple. He does not overeat. He doesn't blaspheme others. There's so many qualities that can be described about Vaishnavas. We also know that a pure soul, liberated soul, can possess, what is the percentage? 87%? Please correct me on that. It's either 78 or 87%, right, of the qualities of Vishnu fully manifested. So there are many things that we can talk about as we glorify devotional qualities. And yet there is something specific that we meditate on as we read the story of Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu, and of course Lord Nrsimhadev, that form of the Lord. And it's quoted in many places in Bhagavatam. It's just not only in this part. Srila Prabhupada would refer to Prahlad Maharaj in many instances in other purports, which I'm also reading right now, like in the 5th canto, when Lakshmi Devi is actually praying to Krishna on behalf of everybody. And she's discussing the beautiful qualities of the Lord and also Prabhupada quotes, what is special with Prahlad Maharaj? And that thing is, I will not tease you for too long or, entertain you before I speak about it, is that he cares more about others than of himself. And he's non-envious. Those two things about Prahlad Maharaj are so special. And Prabhupada mentions very special, particular qualities here that almost seem like contradictory, right? Being a staunch devotee, which we sometimes imagine, being staunch is like always saying, oh, this is the only way, this is how we did it, and everyone else is wrong. And there's only one way to do it. Like staunch means like something tough, almost like conservative and fanatical sometimes, right? I can think of those definitions. Like really grounded in something and not deviating. And at the same time, liberal devotee of the Lord, we imagine someone like, yeah, everything goes, all glories to devotional service. You can just do whatever. We all hear probably. So it almost seemed like contradictory qualities. But these two come, with this particular set that Prahlad Maharaj has. You can become staunch devotee when you conquered your material desires, and therefore nothing can really deviate from bhakti. There's no good explanation of that, because most people, they leave this path or they criticize bhakti or acharyas or other devotees because it's just difficult to practice and it's difficult to reconcile the desires. Bhagavatam, no, there are other reasons. Yes, there's like sometimes abuse and there's trauma, of course. I'm not denying that. We all know this. Perhaps it can be a topic for another class when appropriate verse will come up and we can discuss those things as well and how to deal with them, or we have questions in the end. Because I'm sure there's plenty of that going on as well and it has to be addressed in a healthy way. But generally, it's the material desires, it's this burning fire within that does not go away because perhaps we can't chant attentively, because perhaps we have certain temptations or weaknesses that can be stronger than our association of devotees or than our knowledge and determination and sadhana. And so, yeah, most of the time we cannot be staunch because they're just very strong material desires that overpower our desire for Krishna and bhakti. And so we find ways to psychologically abandon the path. And so then you see again multiple coming out of why I don't like ISKCON and my guru and such president and such thing. And yes, those things are there too. But it should not be an impediment to our relationship with Krishna. Because we understand the Shastra and the karma works and how difficult it is to remain pure in a position of power and management as well in the Kali Yuga. It's very difficult service as well. It's like a curse, because it can mess with you. It can mess with Trinata Pisa Nichana. It can be very difficult to maintain relationships. And so yeah, those things are happening and all over the place. Just one of my good friends just now sent me some whole song somebody dedicated on the abuse in Vrindavan, abuse of power in Krishna Balaram Mandir, and how so many devotees are suffering and nobody can talk about it, and all this sort of stuff. I had no idea about all these things. And then I was like, wow, I know those devotees. I was like, wow, this is unfortunate. Wow, people like making songs about it just so that somebody can hear them. Because yeah, Trinada Pisanichina sometimes means like, oh, I have to be silent if there's something unfair going on, and it has to be addressed and these things. Sorry, I did go into this path because it's on my mind a little bit, but let's come back to the standard of pure devotion, right? What to do with it, because there's always an alternative to all of us, and there's always way to become beyond that, to heal our hearts from whatever pain we experienced, to heal our egos with whatever rough experiences and situations it's been through. And I'm sure it has been. And, if you live with somebody, if you're not completely alone on an inhabited island, you probably experience those things every day. The ego is generally involved in any kind of relationships. So welcome to the club. We can go beyond by recognizing how Prahlad did it. The only way he was able to be psychologically, mentally healthy person after experiencing such an incredible abuse from his father and people in power, right? If this was a modern case in 2025 and we knew about this, obviously it would be considered a terrible abuse of an underage person and would be a court case and everything would come with it. But the people of power sometimes can do these things and get away with them. So somehow Hiranyakashipu was getting away with mistreating his child so severely and in fact trying to murder him. And yet somehow Prahlad Maharaj just remained a staunch devotee of the Lord. He did not blame Krishna and broke down and said, "Why me? It's not fair. I'm just a child. These things should not be happening. There must be no God. The world is bad. Everyone is my enemy," and etc., etc. Because a lot of times people who experience such treatments, they feel that pain and they just can't go on. They can't carry on because of the trauma and, again, abuse. And I'm sorry if there's a trigger for some, but probably for many. Somehow or other, this is not a perfect world. So a lot of us, experience some kind of abuse one time in life, probably. So we can understand that it's easy to just turn away from the Lord and feel I'm a victim of the circumstances. I'm a victim of this world. So it's a difficult situation. If we would really absorb ourselves in this story and understand what it was really like, it's just incredible what Prahlad Maharaj had to undergo. And yet, how is he remaining like this? How is he dealing with such trauma? How is he not broken to pieces from this and destroyed? I mean, honestly, I'm here afraid that if my son, gets some little scolding for something, or some sort of instructions, I'm thinking like, oh, he's going to be traumatized. If he's going to feel some sort of insecurities later and trauma, I'm thinking like that, right? And here we go again. Some kids had to go, were pushed very, very far and still remained the most healthy individuals spiritually. So Prahlad Maharaj, he is praying after all of that. What happens with him later? We will read about it, unfortunately, and let's try to not ignore this, and let's try not to be like Hiranyakashipu to others. Let's try not to dominate someone and hurt just because of our egos. This is a good instruction to see what happens to those who molest devotees and who just so selfish and just want to be in control. Be careful. Be punished like Hiranyakashipu was. And yet, Prahlad, he didn't seek justice. He didn't stood there enjoying his father's death. He actually prayed for him. He said, "Dear Lord, I don't want anything for myself. I don't have any desires. I just want you to protect my father from sinful activities and reactions of it that he did. Please forgive him. And really, I just want you," the first of the prayers, the first verses, there will be, "May all the universes, may all the living entity have peace and be peaceful." And be peaceful means be Krishna conscious, because it's the only way to become peaceful. The only way to make peace in this world. Because Prabhupada writes in several purports that material existence equals anxiety. It's an anxiety to be here. Why? Because there's no one to fully trust. There's no one to surrender. There's no such persons in the material universe, like persons of power or, that you can just become the servant of. No one is qualified like Krishna to take care of you. Except for Guru, hopefully. Who's a representative of Krishna. We generally should trust our spiritual master and serve them, because this is how we surrender to Krishna. And of course, evaluate if our Guru is on the path by hearing carefully and following, and compare it to sadhu and shastras. Don't become blind, of course, ever, but at some point, yes, if we're serving under the guidance of a qualified spiritual master, then this is our way to surrender to Krishna, very practically, very easily. Thinking, how can I be an instrument? How can I be a servant of my spiritual master and assist him in his mission to his Guru? This is a very safe and healthy position for our spiritual and mental health. Because staying here in the material world, worrying about yourself, your situation, simultaneously experiencing envy to Krishna, because that is the main condition of being born in the material world and the universe, right? We desired the position of God in some way or other, and so had to experience it in this twisted, weird way. It's created out of envy. Then we and the other living entities, sometimes the conflict is so big that we can even envy ourselves. In some way, the psychological condition of the person can be so that the conflict within is so big that you have this conflicting things with your own self. Like there's almost like a separation, of realities of you too. And things can go bad. And yeah, all of it is followed by those very unpleasant feelings of comparison. And if you worse than someone, then you feel bad, you feel down, you feel depressed, materially worse, sort of subjectively, right? If you compare yourself to someone and you think like, oh, I'm bad, then what happens? Yes, you become very depressed, morose, again, angry. If you so-called better than somebody else, when you compare out of envy, then what? You become very proud. And also your knowledge disappears, because pride can destroy all intelligence and make us fools, make mistakes and act appropriately. Yeah. Makes me sad to discuss all of this, because I recognize so many qualities as well in myself, and this evolution of bhakti, and thinking like in the stage of anartha-nivritti, we can see all this in our hearts and think, wow, will this ever end? Will I ever get to the point where I can practice Krishna consciousness peacefully and stably without having to go through all of this abuse of my own intelligence and self within, by experiencing those feelings of envy and comparison and anxiety, and trying to control and enjoy and become advantage over others. This is a very difficult situation for the soul, because we all want love, we all want something unconditional and pure. We're looking for it everywhere, even in very conditional relationships, right? And yet the qualities we experience inside and exhibit are so contradictory to what we want. No wonder the mental health is not very good. No wonder we have problems, because it's such a conflict within, such an incredible, difficult situation to live in if you under pressure like that. So meditation of Prahlad Maharaj and hearing this story not only will give us faith in the protection of the Lord, will not only give us fearlessness. If you chant Gram Miram Mahavishnum Jvalantam Sarvatomukam Vishnam Vishanam Badham Mrityum Mrityum Namamyaham, mantra to seek protection from the Nrsimhadev. Yes, he will protect you from material dangers. He'll protect you, like from car accidents and things like that, perhaps, or violence and traumas. But also, he'll protect your bhakti from disturbance of envy and distractions and weakness of the heart, and the knots of the heart, in the heart, of bad previous karma. Nrsimhadev can remove the ego. He can take it out, perform a surgery with his claws, with his sharp nails, and take it out, just like he took out the heart and the guts of Hiranyakashipu. In the same way, he can perform the surgery in the heart. And devotees, this is a real procedure. This is a real procedure. We can we can chant the holy name by the mercy of the Lord, of course. It has to be mercy of the Vaishnava of the Lord to give us this experience. It has to be also our effort to chant very attentively and to pray sincerely to purify our hearts. And it is like a real heart surgery where those things will be taken out from you as you chant. These things will leave your heart. You will physically feel this. You'll physically feel your karma dissolving. You'll see your present, past, and future. And what could have had happened if you wouldn't be chanting Hare Krishna, and how you wouldn't be happy. And you'll see your past and how you don't deserve this, actually. We don't deserve this mercy because of all the horrible things we've done to Krishna by betraying him over and over again, birth after birth. Because when the conditioned soul dies, well, the body, and the soul experiences this temporarily understanding again, right, of what's going on really, and it's my situation, and goes back to the womb later to experience the karma it's acquired because the desires, is described in the fourth canto by Lord Kapiladev, that the soul within the womb is suffering from different conditions and also from understanding what's going on and that it's going to happen again. So at that point, there is the spiritual awareness of the situation. And so the soul prays to Krishna, please do not let me forgive you. Please give me a chance to be a servant. I'll be good this time. I'll serve you. Please just not let me go through the suffering again. Because you have to be born, you forget it all over again. And then you go through the same intense experiences of desire and hate, heat and cold, of hunger and, I guess, not hunger, overeating or something, that's also suffering, of praise and disrespect, of fame and disgrace, and just all over, all these dualities. They just they exhausting. It's exhausting, to do this all. So the soul prays, but then we forget and we do it again. So we betray Krishna. We don't have enough intelligence or strength or fortune, maybe, or maybe desire to really walk through that, follow through, and just dedicate one life to Krishna. Some people say we have nothing to lose, really. We come here with nothing, we go with nothing, and yet we just spend so much time fighting for something that we never even had, I'll never even have. It doesn't belong to us. But we spend so much energy worrying about it and trying to maintain it. It's crazy. And yet, dedicating life to serving Krishna seems just so difficult sometimes. Who will take care of me? Who will take care of my needs? No, I can't. I can't worry about others. I have so many problems to deal with. This is an illusory energy of the Lord that makes us feel that this is more important than our sadhana bhakti, our practice of expressing devotion and love to Krishna, of dedicating our time and energy and money and all our other valuable resources and talents we possess to preach, to serve, to glorify, to help others to do that, to enable others to do that. So let's not go down that path, and be very sincere and determined on our way to Krishna. Prahlad Maharaj is such an incredible example of staying focused, on staying sober, on not giving up on Krishna because of the difficult circumstances and the hardships he has to undergo. I mean, who of us could be able to handle such pressure and not, just become disappointed maybe, or lose faith and get discouraged in their bhakti, like, where is God? Why is he not protecting me? Why he's not doing anything about it? What is this? I didn't deserve it. I'd be thinking like that probably if something like this was happening to me. I don't know if I would handle anything like that. But Prahlad Maharaj, wow, his focus, his prayerful mood, his meditation, his determination to serve Krishna. There are devotees who manifested that mood in the same way, and of course became a history and inspiration for many. I don't know, devotees, if you've read this book, Salted Bread. I think it's quite famous and it's gone because it basically describes the experience of some of the first Russian-speaking devotees who um, who had experienced a lot of abuse and were in very dangerous situations. The children were taken away from mothers. The children died because mothers were taken, the devotee mothers were taken to jail for being Hare Krishnas, for trying to practice, for printing Bhagavad Gitas, or even just being involved in some way, facilitating that. Some devotees died in the jail as well from malnutrition because they were not fed and they wouldn't eat non-vegetarian food. And the reason it's called salted bread is because they weren't allowed to chant, they weren't allowed to read or use beads, They were chanting on their fingers and even punished for that. And the only thing they could eat was bread, salted bread. And from the bread pieces, they would make beads. You'd put away a little Ananta Shanti, and another devotee, I think, had to go through that as well. Some of the first ones, it's like an incredible, incredible story of dedication and determination. So it was very similar to the situation for Prahlad Maharaj. They didn't give up on serving Krishna and praising Krishna and spreading Krishna consciousness. And devotees outside the jail who didn't get caught at that time were very inspired by how these devotees did not give up, because they were giving choices too. Like if you just say publicly that you were just crazy or you were hypnotized or, someone forced you to do that, and you fully renounce this Krishna consciousness and this Krishna, and you'll never do it again, we'll let you go. We'll let you go of jail. You just have to publicly denounce Krishna. That's the only condition. You have to say that this is all crazy and sort of like ruin the reputation of this movement and philosophy publicly. Then we'll let you go. That's what the powers at the time and authorities was trying to do. And they wouldn't do it. They were like, nope. Jai Shri Krishna. Hare Krishna. So they would chant and they would make beads from tiny pieces of bread. They were wet with water. And when gluten forms and dries, it becomes like a dry, hard ball. So they will make beads from bread sometimes to chant. Things like that would happen, and then they were found and then taken away, and they would do it again. And eventually these devotees, they just starved to death. One of them, as I remember from the book, he put a tilak on himself, like from toothpaste or something, all over. And he just sat down in the jail, on the bed, something, or whatever they were confined, and chanted his way out. He just left the body. He was found like this in samadhi, in meditation, voluntarily left his body by chanting and going. And the others, they were just like tortured and left. But somehow or other, the description, I think it's written by one person who finally let go, because, the devotees around the world were protesting, and somehow or other this case was eventually resolved, and they won. The devotees won. They were not prosecuted anymore like that. After some time, after these devotees had to take this position and sacrifice their life and suffer. An incredible story, You cannot read that book without crying. And and then you think like, wow, here I am complaining because somebody, I don't know, looked at me somehow in the temple 10 years ago and said something to me, oh, I'm so abused. Or How dare he not recognize my incredible talent? Some devotees like this online, very vocal right now. Oh, somebody not recognize my incredible divine talent. And so that's why I hate ISKCON. That's why, they all bad and I left and now I'm free. And by the way, all the philosophy of Bhagavatam is false just because somebody didn't see how incredible I am. So there are people like that. And you think like, wow, really? Is this what I'm going to use my mind for, my precious time? Just feel some pity about myself, feeding my victim mentality and things like that. This kind of stories, they put things into perspective and maybe can give us a break from that self-centered spirituality where we just can't stop at thinking about ourselves all the time. But that's not the mood of great devotees are here about. They think about themselves so little. And I personally don't know how to do that yet. But I'm really inspired by it. I think it's incredible if somebody can be so Krishna conscious that they just don't have the desires. They don't feel the need to somehow be um, recognized or treated with justice and reverence and, always appreciated and recognized and praised and respected. Like they just, it could be there, it could not be there. They just don't care. They're okay either way because it's not about them in the first place. I don't know how to do it, but I appreciate so much that mood because it can make you so peaceful. I mean, all anxiety comes from that duality again. Like, oh, am I praised or am I in disgrace? Am I wealthy or am I poor? Am I comfortable? Am I not? Am I this or am I that? Am I loved or am I not? Especially, I think this sort of deficiency of love as well. It can push us so far, in suffering and desperation, that need to be validated, that need to be always loved and appreciated. Not that we shouldn't do it, of course. We should love each other and even love ourselves. I think it's spiritually healthy, to have good standards of relationships and appreciation and good community and not ignore those things. It's how we mostly thrive in bhakti as well, right? Feeling secure and safe. Yes, all of these things should be there. But what I'm saying is that if somebody can be on the level of Krishna consciousness where you're so busy worrying about how to serve the Lord, you're so busy worrying about others' happiness and the world really taking up Krishna consciousness, that your problems are not that significant anymore. We have a glimpse of that in sacrificial Sankirtana Yagya, perhaps, in sacrificial service to the Lord, because somehow or other, in order to do that, you have to care. You have to care about others. It's not very rewarding in other ways, in material sense, to give Krishna consciousness. You might get a few friends, which is very important and wonderful, and I hope you do. You might get some appreciation and, somebody sometimes saying like, oh, Prabhu, you saved my life. Thank you so much. I'm so happy, you helped me to grow in Krishna consciousness. That's worth a lot. That's worth a lot. But in other ways, materially, it's not a profitable business. It is Sankirtana Yaga. It's a yaga. You're meant to sacrifice, and you will sacrifice. You will sacrifice a lot. Oh my goodness, especially in Kali Yuga right now, where it seems like it's just take incredible amount of energy to connect with somebody because people are scared and they're anxious and they avoid real interactions and they stuck with their phones and they feel lonely and they feel bad about themselves sometimes. And also so much fake spiritual information is spread around. And instead of generally connecting and sort of like learning from a real person, from a bhakta, a lot of people, they just go online because they're too scared to ask things, and then they look up something very bad, offensive about a spiritual community or organization, and that's it. They're like, okay, I've done my research. These people are bad. They want something from me, and I will never come again. So it's kind of difficult to do Sankirtana as yagya, to become friends with someone and win their heart so they can trust you enough to really hear about Krishna, to receive the knowledge and believe you that you can practice this and actually be happy, and it's worth it. It's worth all the effort. It's extremely difficult to do. We're like sometimes struggling to convince devotees to do that, right? Those who have practice and initiates, so let's go, come on, yay, we can do it. Let's chant 16 rounds, let's chant Hare Krishna, let's do a little service. Or to speak of someone who maybe never practiced bhakti before, it's very difficult. And yet, if you care enough, you will experience that mood of Prahlad Maharaj. Like, yes, there are some things going on in my life. Yes, it's difficult. Yeah, the health isn't so good. Yeah, I need some money. This and that. Yes, this person's giving me anxiety and trouble, and I wish they wouldn't, and I wish I could change them. Oh, yes, I wish I had this and that experience. All of this can be there. We can live with it. But it doesn't have to take over our time and energy and consciousness completely. We can have unflinching devotion, devotional faith. And then all the good qualities of Krishna will manifest consistently in our body, in our mind. And most importantly, we'll become very peaceful. This is one of the immediate mm, immediate signs or symptoms of bhakti, right? Immediate relief from material suffering, immediate experience of spiritual bliss. You can take a deep inhale and exhale and feel, aha, I'm relieved, Hare Krishna. And then again, Hare Krishna. And then Krishna, Krishna. Hare, Hare. And with each word of the Maha Mantra, as we chant attentively, you'll feel the fire of material suffering and material existence is leaving you, leaving your body, leaving your mind. And not only are you feeling relief from that hankering and duality and lamentation and pain and insecurity and fear that I won't be loved, I won't be successful, I will be rejected. And by Krishna, there's so many things there, so many little things that interrupt our bhakti. Not only that, but you'll start to feel utsaha, the enthusiasm of service. There's nothing more inspiring in this world than seeing an enthusiastic devotee, at least for me. When I see somebody who's, despite everything, okay, let's say it like that, despite everything in their life, and everybody has something, they just happily serving Krishna. They're just always ready there. Devotional service, sure, bring it on. I want more. I will rest next lifetime. I will sleep when I die. Yes, please do take care of your body and health, of course, so that you can be sustainable and do it for a few years, not just for a few days. That's what it means to be steady and staunch as well, that you can sustain your bhakti over a long period of time. The concentration is needed. The meditation is needed, even in your service and chanting and everything. But yeah, it's so inspiring to see devotees like this. And even if we just have few, sometimes Srila Prabhupada would say, even if our movement is like 1% successful, if there's one pure devotee that came out of our efforts, he wouldn't even say mine, he would say we, thinking of his spiritual master and the acharyas and everybody who was assisting him and supporting him as well in this way. He would say, even if our mission is only made one pure, serious devotee of the Lord, then we consider it successful. Because one enthusiastic, happy, spiritually healthy devotee who care about others, who wants to serve, who wants to preach Krishna consciousness, who he's not going to stop because of the difficulties, because of the tests of Maya, because of the karma, the previous lifetimes, which we are to just patiently tolerate until the fan stops, turning. Knowing that actually I deserve a lot more, but Krishna is very kind and merciful, so he only gives me just a tiny bit of that karma because he is very compassionate and kind to his devotees. And this is real things. Bhagavatam doesn't lie. It states a lot of facts, especially when it comes to dynamics of devotional service, Maybe some statements we can't understand in Bhagavatam, the distances, the planets, the mountains, and how far they go, and, there's different things about planetary condition. Maybe it's just over our heads right now. We can't testify those things, and maybe you don't have to worry about it even. It's not a reason to stop practicing your Krishna consciousness because you couldn't figure out, was it the moon or not the moon where we landed or something. Sorry, just thinking of some people who said that that's why they're leaving bhakti because this is not true or something. But the statements of Bhagavatam about the dynamics of the devotee who gradually progresses and experiences those symptoms of pure heart and taste, the nishtha and bhava and prema, they are all true. These are facts. And, if you've been practicing sincerely for some time, you probably understood that on your own self as well. But yes, those things happen, and it's really true. Everything that Bhagavan says is true. Krishna is not trying to trick us or something. He's not trying to get us into some multi-level marketing scheme or some, promising more than there is. Sign up now. We'll be happy. No, he's very real about everything. So I'm so grateful to Srila Prabhupada for breaking it down to us and writing such wonderful purports. So we can see what to focus on in each story of Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we can borrow his pure intelligence, his Krishna consciousness, and see it through the lens of the great acharyas and shastras. And in a very simple language and very clear definitions, he just gives a pathway, give us very high standards that we should meditate on and get to. Everything is possible by little changes, by little steps towards it. You try, you change 1%, you do better, you do 1% more. But over the course of the 100 days or whatever, 100 weeks, 100 months of your practice, if you just do that 1% more and more and more, you'll get to 100% of bhakti. You'll get to 100% of your devotion. Just don't give up. Don't become complacent. Don't get too comfortable thinking like, well, I'm already doing this. There's no point. Maybe you get some good karma by not being involved in sinful activities because we follow four regulative principles. But if we practice without heart, without mindfulness and consciousness involved in our chanting, if we're just habitual and mechanical, then yeah, it might take many lifetimes. But if you chant in the same way as Prahlad Maharaj, with such faith and knowledge that Krishna will come to you and will protect you at the time of difficulty, at the time when it's really needed, at the most important time, at the time of death as well, then the death can be the culmination of your experience of bhakti. It can become the most beautiful experience of your devotion because Krishna comes personally for his devotees at the time of death. It does not become a torture for the conditioned soul to leave the body and experience that fear and anxiety. It becomes a celebration, the graduation party, where Krishna comes to your party and say, hey, you did it. Haribol, Jai, let's hug. Let's go home now. You've been waiting for it for a long time. Where you've been in the school of bhakti, trying to get your degree. But finally you graduated. So let's go home now. Let's have some fun. That's sometimes how the students here feel at Penn State, They're just alone without their family. They're trying to get this degree. They're so lonely and stressed, and then they're finally done. So they go home to their beloved family or something, take shelter again of their parents. Don't have to pay the bills anymore, buy food or cook your food or do your laundry. Your mom can do that. They allow that graduation process and be done here. So in the same way, when we graduate, Krishna will take us. So we should have the same faith and chant very sincerely, at least whenever we remember. Yes, the mind is difficult, and oftentimes it's just so preoccupied and busy with a conflict, with unfulfilled desires. It's just so powerful. And especially if we continue to feed it with certain stimulations that increase the desires and they increase the conflict within and feeling deficiency, on many levels. Because deficient people, they buy more. They're good consumers. They're good little parts and parcels of the system of the ultra wealthy. So everything is designed here as well, so you can continue to feel unsatisfied and unhappy with your material situation, because that's the only way to convince you that you need something else. You need to buy. You need to go on Black Friday and get that thing. Here I'm thinking like, is there anything I need to get on Black Friday? Can't think of anything. But I will talk with my husband. Maybe some desires will awaken there, Hare Krishna. So yes, wonderful story of Prahlad Maharaj. Let's meditate on that over and over again as we read further chapters and qualities and meditation of Prahlad Maharaj, his behavior, his reactions. Maybe he couldn't change Hiranyakashipu. He couldn't affect the situation in any way or influence him. He tried, of course. Many people tried. But he did what he can within his circle of influence. He saw things as they are, and he stayed very focused on his relationship with the Lord, despite all the injustice that he experienced in his family, despite all the abuse the material world has put him in. So we're meant to learn from that and become like Prahlad Maharaj. We probably won't be undergoing anything close to that at all. In fact, if you happen to be in Gita Nagari community, it's quite the opposite of the Hiranyakashipu family. Everybody's very kind. And if you reach out, if you need it, if you're not too proud to ask for help, then it always comes. Like Dumbledore said to Harry Potter, the help always comes at Hogwarts when you ask for it. I'm sorry for quoting this. I'm from this generation who read all the Harry Potter books as a child. But the help always comes at Gita Nagari if somebody asks for it. It's a very loving community. There's a lot of support. There's a lot of maturity and understanding how important it is to have nurturing atmosphere where you can talk about your difficulties and yet not be rejected or criticized or ridiculed and abandoned. You can trust people, and I'm so grateful that we have seniors like that who just available and ready, and they made themselves available like that. That's their meditation of Prahlad Maharaj. I'm here to care for others. I'm here to hear the pain. I'm here to give the hugs. I'm here to say the words of love and support and heal the hearts. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful place to practice bhakti. I always remind myself how lovely it is that we are in this very friendly and loving community. Yes, nobody can be perfect. There are things we could be doing more, being more active externally and doing more outreach, using our amazing knowledge and skills to reach out to more people. But also, yeah, it's very important to have internal, healthy family, so that when time comes and people come for shelter because there's no more shelter left anywhere else, they can take it and they can live happily. They take advantage of that and they think, wow, I didn't know such thing exists. I didn't know there is such environment in this world anymore. I thought it's all gone. But we can be an example of good standards of Vaishnava behavior and relationships. So thank you, dear devotees, for that. Those in Gita Nagari community and nearby, those who come and participate, those who maintain friendships and support, those who help to serve at the farm, because it's a big thing to do. It never stops. It's a big responsibility and it's glorious. So everybody who is instrument there, who's simply present and chooses to come and be there with devotees, chooses friendship, chooses support, chooses to be an active part and member of it, is so glorious already. So I'm very appreciative of that. In the moments of exhaustion in bhakti or material exhaustion, I feel, I need to go to Gita Nagari. And I need a few hugs of our mothers and fathers I usually don't hug with others so much, but mentally we all, send each other hugs and obeisances with with everybody really. And it's just so wonderful. You become so recharged and happy, and you think like, wow, I'm safe. If I need help, I will get help. So let's not be too proud. And when we need help in our bhakti, and even just not in bhakti, when you're just struggling mentally with something, just remember Vaishnavas are very merciful. Vaishnavas are very compassionate, and those who practice bhakti seriously for a long time, they have the same qualities of Prahlad Maharaj. They also care for the well-being of this world, of each member, and then there to give that energy, that love that they learned from their gurus, from Srila Prabhupada, from Bhakti Tirtha Swami, from other gurus that present right now with us. And they're ready to distribute it profusely. The only problem is that we sometimes don't know how to ask for it. We're too proud to ask for help. No, I can do it all myself. No, I'd rather suffer than show my weakness, show my struggle, and open my heart. But it will help us in the long run as well. I think I will end on that. And if anybody wants to add something in the verse, or your realizations on Prahlad Maharaj's qualities of being staunch and liberal, how you see it manifesting in our day and time of modern ISKCON, how can we be simultaneously liberal and staunch? I would love to hear from you, any of your realizations on this particular verse, because it's wonderful and give us important hints. Haribo. Thank you, Yashodhana. Positive psychology, devotional psychology of Prahlad Maharaj. I thought you don't like psychology. Psychology actually means the knowledge of the soul, the science of the soul. So, all bhakti is a psychology, really. So let's use that. All right, if everybody is satisfied with our attempt to understand and discuss this verse, we can finish now. Thank you all present, and Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bo, Vanchakalpatrapyascha, Kripasindu Pyavacha, Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavibhyo